Hello, good morning, and welcome to a beautiful St. Moritz in Switzerland. We're high in the Engadin Valley in the Swiss Alps, over 1,775 meters above sea level. The air is thin, but the atmosphere is electric as we get ready for the women's skeleton race. 2 runs to decide our gold medalist on the track in which they held last year's World Championships. Well, hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven, sitting in the booth alongside me, Eric Nielsen, who raced down the track yesterday. Eric, everybody says this track is special. What's the big draw to St. Moritz?
It's the place where skeleton started. On the track, it's so smooth, and there's no real noise like a artificially refrigerated track. It's you and the track and just a bunch of wind.
Well, tell us about these first couple of corners, because this, to my mind, is always one of the most difficult parts of the track. Yeah,
at the top of the track here, you really need to be settled on your sled. A little skid or a bump on the wall can pretty much ruin your race up here. This is your chance to build speed going into the bottom corners. So the more relaxed you are up here, the better.
And then we start to pick up speed. The first of our corner complexes, Snake, produced a couple of big skids yesterday into Sunny.
Yeah, coming off wall this year has been a little bit different, so you got to get the right entrance into Snake 1, and it sets up your Snake 2 to get a little bit more of that extra bump of speed coming down here into Horseshoe, which is this is your main speed corner right there. You got to get high and come out into the going in Devil's Dyke now. So Devil's Dyke is it's a tricky corner this year. You see a lot of people come out and they'll probably hit left maybe. It takes a lot of skill to get out of there properly.
Out of the fast 4 right-handers, ending with Gunter Sachs, you're over 80 miles an hour here. What does that do to the body?
Right there, I think it's a great rush of adrenaline, because all you feel is just the wind whipping down across your back, and a little skid there or a little hit like I did yesterday, and that will cost you a couple spots.
Yes, it does. It's very, very quick, and as you say, if you touch the wall, it touches your time a lot back. Lizzie Arnold of Great Britain is this year's World Cup points leader from Noel Piker's pace, and in 3rd place is the reigning world champion Shelley Rudman. Sarah Reid of Canada lies in 4th place in the overall standings. You can see there, look, Maria Oliver, Lucy Chaffer, Australia, just 2 points apart. We've still got a couple of 100 points to be decided here and next week in Eagles. And those rankings are vital because they may well decide your future, going to the games or not, and where you would start. Air temperature -2 degrees, and Eric, that's important. Yesterday, it was 0 and climbing at the beginning of the men's race, and that had a bit of a detrimental effect on the ice.
Yeah, the ice started out pretty good on the first heat. It sped up a little bit through the first one, and then going into the second heat, you could tell the ice was getting pretty soft going down. I heard my sled digging in the ice, and so hopefully it doesn't get too warm today.
Noel Piker's pace draws start number 1 ahead of Yelena Nikitina. Historically, the later you go in the run, the less frost there'll be on the track from overnight and the quicker it'll go. So that may favour some of the sliders outside the top 20 draw in their efforts to get into the heat for race 2. So, at the top of the track is Noel Piker's pace of the USA. Noel, silver medalist in last year's World Championships. And the girl from Orem, Utah, surprised last night as family and friends turned up to watch. That's where the big bobbleheads have come. And she had the right-hand runner in the right-hand groove to get a good run into that first kink. Eric Nielsen, she got away from there without any dramas.
Yeah, we haven't seen anybody start that far right, but it seemed to work out really well because the grooves seemed to be pulling a little bit left yesterday.
Well, she's got without any skids through the first couple of corners into Snake 1, Snake 2, and she is our crash test dummy, if you like. She is the one that is going to tell everybody else what kind of pace we might expect from this track.
Yeah, and you're going to know from Noel, because she might not have one of the fastest starts in the heat, but she will have some of the best lines coming down. Really nice out of Horseshoe.
USA, the 2nd most successful nation in the last Olympic cycle on this track. The most successful nation is Great Britain's Shelley Rudman. She's got 3 gold medals alone, Great Britain 4 as a nation. Noel, again on this track, being long and lean and also having a lot of mass really helps. And look at the speed at the bottom, 133. The men didn't even get close to that yesterday. So the ice is a little harder, the track's a little quicker, and it's a new record for Noel Piker's pace.
That was a good run. She had a really good bottom of the track, and man, she had great speed down there.
83 miles an hour. Imagine that. You're lying an inch off the ice. Your chin is an inch off the ice. Great exit from Horseshoe here.
Coming out, you can see her looking for the exit. A little bit of a flop out, but didn't hurt her at all.
Well, we watched yesterday, and a medium line that gets you a nice, clean exit really carries your speed. She's got lots of friends and family at the top of the track. Now, we were wondering, Eric Nielsen, who was going to be the quick starter. We might be looking at Yelena Nikitina to set the start record. Marina Giordani put it at 5:25 in the Swiss Championships, 29th of December last year. 5:25, so that is tying the start record.
Yeah, pretty good. She just came out of the groove, got pulled left and missed all of kink one there. So we'll see if that affects her at all.
You can see the runners coming straight down the track towards you, no skids, and that is good news.
Really nice out of wall in the snake one.
Yelena, compared to Noelle, fairly petite. She's only 5'7". She's quite slight as well, and that has advantages or disadvantages, Eric?
It has both, because your advantages, you're a little bit more aerodynamic, but a big hit. You just don't have that weight to get the little bit more momentum coming down the track.
98.2 into the Horseshoe, and down here we should see into 100 kilometers an hour. She's dropped behind Noelle Piker's pace with that hit. She's gone from 1100s up to 3/10 back, tapping with her toes just to get a little more of a steer. Whoa, 127.9. Noelle was 133. That's nearly 6 kilometers away. That's a lot of speed to be losing.
Yeah, she probably lost most of it coming out of Horseshoe there. She took a hit on the left-hand side, and that will drop your speed down a lot.
Wow, so Noelle Piker's pace came down there at 83 miles an hour. She was doing 79. When you translate it into those terms, you realize what a yawning gap it is.
Coming around, she just got hung up too high, crossed too hard coming into next corner. Yeah, she skidded off and hit the left wall, and that will drop all your speed coming down the bottom of the track.
You can see the ice flying there, so you know it was a hit rather than just a skid. Well, she's got stuff to improve on in that second heat. Now, here's our track record holder, Marina Giordani. Swiss girl is an ex-bobsleigh brakewoman. She was twice a Junior World Championship medalist in bobsledding, and now she's converted to skeleton. She's their big hope for a start record this morning as well. 5:21, there you go. Bingo.
Really nice to the top here, and she should know this track pretty well.
And again, you can, little wavering there. You can see in that shot really clearly when they track left to right.
Yeah, she's making little adjustments, maybe fiddling around on her sled a little bit too much coming down these straights. You just want to be as relaxed as possible there.
Well, the Swiss men had a total disastrous meltdown yesterday. Neither made the cut. And so Marina is desperate to try and recover some of that lost ground.
Nice exit out of Horseshoe.
Still in the green. That means she's ahead of our current leader, Noelle Piker's pace.
See her exit out of...
This is a smooth-looking run. You saw the heel coming up, Eric. She's steering quite hard.
Yeah, she had to fix her corner there, and you can see her steer hard and then tap out of the wall.
Yeah. Out of sacks, you want to avoid those walls if at all possible. And again, that little bridge fillet there, you've got to avoid the skid through the middle between the final corners, Martineau and Portago. Well, she comes in 8/10 back. She's not going to stay in second place. I think we can pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah, she had a good run going up the top, and then I think she got a little bit too aggressive on her steers, maybe a little nervous coming out of the bottom.
This is such a long track, so difficult to get every steer exactly right.
Great start. Just so powerful off the start.
Well, you can ask any coach. They'll take a fast starter and polish them into a good driver. The other way around is a much harder operation.
Yeah, you can see her steering so hard coming out. Just missed it a little bit.
Since retirement of Gregor Staley from Switzerland and Maya Pedersen, the Swiss skeleton team have had a lot of hard times. Germany's Anja Huber up next. Anja, former world champion, 2008 world champion, now done more than 70 World Cup races. She counts herself as the old lady of German skeleton, yeah, because she looks so ancient at now just 30.
Just getting a hit on the right wall is out of the groove is causing people a little bit more problems than you would expect for this early in the morning.
Well, we see the toes moving around there quite a lot, which was shifting the body weight, but you use almost every element of your body to steer these sleds, Eric. Here, because of the speeds, what's the most important?
I think to be more relaxed, the more you fiddle around with the sled here at same risk, especially because it's so long and the speed is so high. Any little movement you make is going to influence the sled a lot. So you got to try and keep all those movements and the head bobbing back and forth to a minimum.
A little bit of a toe steer out of the horseshoe, and we've seen so many athletes not convinced they've got the line right, drag the toe and then hit on telephone on the exit.
Yeah, this year the track down here in the rights is so difficult to get through clean that you know people are nervous if they take that hit, so they're steering them really hard to try and make it clean, and it just drains your speed a little bit.
Wow, yeah, Jens Muller summing up the opinion exactly. That is an awful run. 1 1/4 seconds back in one run from Anja Huber. Yeah, she goes, what?
Yeah, you're not used to seeing Anja that far back from the first place, and she's just really low through horseshoe. You gotta try and get a little bit more height in there to pick up some speed coming out.
Well, yesterday in the second run especially, we saw that a medium line there gives you a really nice flowing line through Telephone, Shamrock, Devil's Dyke, and then you avoid the big hits. I mean, she avoided the hit, but she still didn't have the spin. I mean, she was quick at the bottom, but actually a 5:42 start as well is not great. Next up is her teammate, 29-year-old Marion Tace. Now, she won't start fast, but let's see if she can find some speed down at the bottom. She's got an FES sled. MS sled for Anja Huber, but 5:70. That's half a second slower than Marina Giardoni.
Yeah, she's not one of the fastest starters, but man, she can pick it up in the bottom as long as she stays settled on her sled. You can see her fixing it a little bit down the straight. It's like the girls are having a little bit of skidding problems, or they're not tracking straight on the top flats.
Well, maybe that's just showing us that the track is a little bit firmer, a little bit skiddier, and I wonder whether we're seeing now the results of girls setting their sled up for what it was like during training, a little bit softer, a little bit more grip. I don't know.
She has great speed coming out of horseshoe here.
Well, this is where it all comes good for Marion. The longer the track, the faster the track, the more she can dig some speed out, but she's still nearly a second back on Noelle Piker's pace.
She's really settled. Her right-hand corners are being great. Good straightaway, just still not anywhere near what Noelle had.
Well, she's got speed, but where is it all going? You know, Noelle 1:33, and again, Marion Tace 1.3 seconds back in a single run. Noelle has just blitzed this field.
Yeah, Noelle had a great run to start off, and normally the track speeds up a little bit, but I don't know. Noelle had one quick run at the beginning.
Looking here again at Marion Tace, you can see that sled track in a way, and of course, like skis, Eric, anytime the runners aren't going straight, they're breaking you.
Yeah, you're bleeding speed anytime those runners turn sideways. The spine digs in, and it's just not, you're not gaining the speed that you should going into the next couple corners.
Well, the two German girls, 0.07 of a second apart, but a mile off the pace. What's Sarah Reed going to do? Explosive starter for Canada. She gets on with the program very quickly. 5:32, that's what she needs to be in contention.
Yeah, Sarah's been training really well, and she's got the start to compete, so she's having a great straightaway here. Doesn't even move.
It's interesting, the new helmets that you guys have all come out with. She's got this really quite macabre, but actually remarkably serene looking head on the helmet as well, I always think.
It's beautifully ominous is what I say. It's and it's getting a lot of attention.
Yes, it is. Not the stuff of dreams, but the stuff of nightmares. Right up on the wood, but look at the exit.
Yeah, she saved that really well. Sometimes you hit the roof and it can cost you, but she saved it great.
Well, she's gone from 3400s up on Noelle to 2/10, and now just 100th of a second in it.
Yeah, Sarah came out of Devil's Dyke a little bit too high and got pushed away.
Oh, good straightaway though. Where's the speed? 129.4. She's going to be in second place.
Hit there before.
And how far back? 63 hundredths of a second. Well, that shows what a good bottom part of the track Noelle Piker's pace had.
Yeah, Sarah was really good through Horseshoe, saved it from the hit, and then her Devil's Dyke, she just got pushed away on the end there. And she comes in, just takes it up a little bit too high, a little tap, but she saves it great because that could be detriment.
Watch the feet. Is she panicking? Is she steering? Is she dragging her toes? Is she heck? She took the hit and she looked at the line and it was still a good one.
She took it like a champ.
Yes, she did. Well, next up is Austria's big hope for the future. Janine Flock, one of the youngest athletes on tour, now just 24 years old. Former Junior World Championship medalist. Started at the Eagles track, where we head next week, aged 13. They bring in their kids in nice and young there. You see 4- and 5-year-olds starting in luge. Sled built by Kristen Bromley. That's not a bad start either.
Really nice to the top here. Janine's having a breakout year. Like, she's had a couple great races, and I think she's good, riding a lot of confidence right now.
And you see there the sled was wriggling under her and she was just letting it relax. The more relaxed your body is, Eric, the less the sled jitters about, right?
Yeah, we always say we want to be like a sack of potatoes. The more that you jiggle around on the sled, the better off you are.
Yeah, bag of jello.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's tough because, you know, it's a very unusual position to be in. You've been sprinting with your fingertips an inch off the ice, you know, absolutely hell for leather, and then you've got to lie there like some Zen meditation master.
Yeah, and she's got great horseshoe coming up.
Yeah.
She's having a really, really nice run.
Stunning speed, 101 kilometers an hour. The men didn't get to that speed at any stage yesterday. The track is quicker. Oh, just did she brush the wall? 131.6, second quickest.
Yeah, she's going to have a good finish here.
She's going to be in second place, ahead of Sarah Reed of Canada. But Noelle Piker's pace still has 1/10 of a second to the field. I think she might have secretly had a little bit of whatever it is Martin Stuckurs has for his breakfast. Oh, the secret there is, by the way, he has an egg and some tea.
Okay, well, that's what I'm having
tomorrow.
There
you go. Nice run.
Really nice run by Janine. She's so relaxed on the sled. You can see her just moving with it, not fighting it. Everything stays straight.
So there you go, Noelle Piker's pace, top speed at the bottom. Janine Flock of Austria getting close there, but tiny little rub out of Sachs. And if you're wondering what the logo on the helmet was, I think it means holy cow. Next up is our World Cup leader, Lizzie Arnold from Kent. And the British girl with a really good history here. She's raced here twice. She took gold 2 years ago in a snow-affected race, silver in the World Championships last year. So not a bad senior level record for Lizzie, and she's in the green from the start.
Yeah, if anybody's going to catch Noelle, I think this is the person to do it. She's been training really well, and yeah, she has a great history here.
Just 25 years old. Her sled, called Mervyn, she started to work on the development, changing the setup now with coach Andy Schmidt, which is something she didn't do in the previous couple of seasons. She left the sled entirely alone and just concentrated on making Lizzie faster, and that's really worked well. 99.6, second quickest speed.
She had a little hit out of Horseshoe there. You can see now she's just a little oversteering.
Tied for the lead.
Pull it together down here in the bottom.
Out of Sachs, got to avoid the wall. Doesn't. Speed is 130.7, third quickest. Let's see where she is at the line. 3,500s back. There are some big gaps in this field, aren't there? Noelle has really opened up a massive margin, but she's 500s, Lizzie Arnold, in front of Janine Flock. So there's a very close battle there.
I don't know if Lizzie's going to be overly excited about her run. I think she's got a lot to clean up, so there's a lot of time to be had here. Just as she's coming out, going into Horseshoe, you can see she just takes a little tap on the left. She doesn't panic too much, and then coming out a little too high, cross in.
Yeah.
There's your speed right there.
So, tough times in Nash and Dixon affects you on the run into Horseshoe, on the run out to Horseshoe. She's still in second place. Next up, our 9th slider on the track, Melissa Hollingsworth of Canada. A slew of podium finishes for this woman in her St. Moritz history. And she really gets this track as well. She's one that really flows here.
Yeah, she's got a great feeling for this track, and she's gone back to her old faithful sled. So, you know, I think she's really comfortable here.
5:44 start for her, so just 400s behind Lizzie Arnold.
Mel's having a really nice top, very relaxed. She always says that her and her sled feel like one person. So. She's been with this sled for, I think, 12 years now. That's an old sled, so.
Yes, it is. Built by cousin Ryan Davenport, who's built a lot of successful sleds over the years. A 1/10 of a second up on Noelle. 1200s at the start, so this is very similar indeed to Noelle's run down to Horseshoe. Let's see if she can keep it clean. Nice exit.
Really nice exit.
But 900s of a second back. 1:01.2, very good speed. She could still challenge for the lead here.
Good exit there. As long as she keeps it clean down here, she should be up in the mix.
A little bit of knee work to make
A little bit
sure.
late going in on the next.
She'll join me in the booth tomorrow. Will she have a medal around her neck at that stage? She's dropped down from 2nd to 3rd position. Is she going to be 2nd or 3rd line? It's 4th place, 1:10.41. Well, definitely within shooting distance of the medals, but yeah, the speed below Horseshoe wasn't what she would have wanted.
Yeah, I think she just missed up her 4 rights there. She got a little bit late on them, and if you get late, they just compound there. It's, you need to make sure you get the first one, and then that makes the rest of them easy. But great start here by Mel. She's been working so hard this year to get that back up there. Once she gets on the sled, she is fully relaxed.
So it is Noelle Piker's pace of the United States that leads. Shelley Rudman, the world champion, claimed her 3rd gold medal on this track last February. Partner Kristen Bromley there had a really good run, the real run of his season yesterday so far. Let's see if Shelley can produce the goods again. 3 gold medals in 4 years here. She is the form athlete in St. Moritz.
Yeah, Shelley said that, you know, she's trying to get her feeling back on her sled. She hasn't been very happy with her season so far. She's felt like she's lost a little bit of her mojo.
Yeah,
hoping that St. Moritz here she can get it back. Really nice on the wall. That's a tricky spot. If you skid or come out there too hard, it's going to be tough to catch up to the leaders. Oh, really nice in the Dixon.
Again, nice, relaxed, nothing happening. Trickles down there. And this is the secret. You've got to look like a stream just finding your way down the track. It's got to be that fluid. 1:01.3, quicker than Melissa Hollingsworth. She has got to find a really clean line here. This is going to be down to the 100th.
She's having a really nice bottom here. Nice and early into all those right-hand corners.
1:31.8, 2 kilometers, 1.5 kilometers away from Noelle Piker's pace. She's not going to have the lead, but how close? 4/10 away in 3rd place. Kristen Bromley applauds that. It's Noelle Piker's pace, Lizzie Arnold, and then a tie. Shelley Rudman and Janine Flock.
Shelley looked a lot more like herself on that run than she has in previous ones. She said she cranked her neck a little bit in one of the Calgary race, and you know, ever since then she's been trying to find her form again. Little hit here going into the finish curve, just affected her probably not that much. Nice helmet.
Yeah. Well, last year was the big devil mouth. This year, much more relaxed. I'm sure her daughter Ella had something in that. Noelle Piker's pace leads by a big margin, but a really tight field behind her. Well, Eric Nielsen, 10 of our 24 sleds down already. And you can see Noelle's relatives there. Husband Jansen in the blue jacket, who designs the sled. The kids are here as well. And this is her final year on tour. If she can pull a big result out here in St. Moritz, I know that's going to mean an awful lot to her.
Yeah, a good finish here in St. Moritz it means a lot to everybody because it's such a special place for us sliders. And you know, I always say it's the happiest place on earth. You come here and everything just seems to be right.
Down at the bottom of the track, Shelley Rudman being weighed along with her sled, and that's all part of the process to make sure that minimum and maximum weights are all adhered to. She should look relatively happy with that. There didn't seem to be an awful lot of mistakes. How much can you alter the sled between runs? If she felt she was getting too much bite, can she put a bit more rock in, reduce the contact patch, or?
Yeah, in between the first and second heat, we have a chance to go in and fiddle with our sleds a little bit. You're allowed to change your rock. You can't go inside the sled and change the setup, obviously. But you know, if you're on and you feel like, oh, I got a little bit too much bite, or you feel like the ice is going to warm up a little bit, put a little bit more rock in, and it should reduce the bite a little bit. Like that's what I did yesterday, because the track warmed up a lot between first and second heat.
Yeah. So you can see the start area there, all the sleds waiting to go. And Melissa Hollingsworth, yeah, you don't have to speak much English to understand that she wasn't delighted with that run. But down to Horseshoe, she looked really smooth, really relaxed. Just didn't quite find the pace she wanted.
Yeah, I think she's just saying she had a little skid going into one of the corners there, and she'll clean that up for second run for sure.
But again, as ever with the bobsled tracks, you can see how close everybody gets. Noelle's family there offering loads of support.
That's a big picture of Noelle's head.
That is. Ten of our 24 sleds down here in the first heat in St. Moritz, Switzerland. This is round 5 of the Women's Skeleton World Cup, and Sophia Griebel of Germany next up at the top of the track. Just 23 years old, one of their development athletes, started as a luge slider, age 10, went to sports high school in Oberhof, and then converted into skeleton. German women's luge team doesn't need an awful lot of help. They are very much a winning machine. So she was clearly poached away by the skeleton sliders going, hey, come to us, you can be a big star. And I think she has all the potential.
Oh, yeah. She came up from IC a couple races ago, and she's got lots of potential here. She's young. She's got a start for her, which is really good. So we'll see what I think she'll do well.
Yeah. Quite a slight athlete, though, and she'll need to put on a little bit more bulk, just 60-odd kilos, so 130 pounds of her. She's 5'7".
She's a little skiddy out of the bottom of the horseshoe. She had a little side skid. You could hear the sled break away from underneath her, so as long as she can try and keep it straight here down the bottom.
Her numbers are in the red. That means she's behind our current leader, Noelle Piker's pace. It's unusual in St. Moritz for the first starter to hold the lead through the heat, because they have, although they have fresh ice, they often have frosty ice. Of course, it wasn't -18, -20 overnight, and that makes a big difference. It was only -2, -3, so perhaps that first start draw deficit isn't really quite as significant this year.
Yeah, normally here in St. Moritz, the overnight is really, really cold. So I'm wondering if maybe the change in times isn't going to be that drastic.
Now, she is not as experienced here in Horseshoe as a lot of them. You see, she's got her head down through the corner, then picks it right up to get a good look through Telephone and Shamrock to really make sure the line is right. And as that experience comes, she'll be looking up less and less. She'll feel it flowing and know that she's got the line. Great-looking helmet from Russia's Olga Potilitsina. Of course, the red, white, and blue of the Russian Federation, and on the back, Taz, the Tasmanian Devil. Quite sure why she's adopted him as a bit of a hero. Maybe she enjoys chewing her way through furniture as well, who can tell.
Big kick from her coming out of the groove to try and get her on that kink one. Not sure why she kicked the ice so hard, but...
Well, there was this phase a year or two ago where all the Russian girls were chopping at the ice with their toes, doing tiny little, typewriter tapping, typewriter there, that's how old I am, little tapping motions, just chopping away as steers, and we all looked at it and went, okay, what's that? And they seem to have dropped it entirely now, so clearly it was something they were working on that either doesn't work or we're not going to see again until the games in Sochi, because it works so well, and I'm not quite sure which. Just 0.03 of a second behind. Decent speed, but not as quick as Noelle Piker's pace through there.
Really nice out of Devil's Dyke. Girls are having a lot better success here with that than they have been in training. So I think a lot of people have figured out the exit there.
Yeah. Takes a couple of runs to get used to the differences in the track every year, because it is a hand-built organic thing. It moves, it changes. 129 kilometers an hour, 80.5 miles an hour, but a 7th place run. And because of the speed of Noelle Piker's pace, our first slider, everybody else looks like they're miles off the pace. In fact, she's 3/10 out of silver, even though she's 7/10 out of gold.
Yeah, coming out of Horseshoe, she's really nice. She keeps her head down, little side skid going in. I always say try and keep your head in front of your feet. If you can do that, you're doing pretty good.
Then it's still skeleton. If your feet go first, it becomes luge, and then it's all sorts of trouble. There is Olga, winning her debut World Cup season, but hasn't seen a top step of the podium since. Next up, Catherine Eustace of New Zealand, along with Ben Sanford, the travelling Kiwis. And she is what you could definitely call a veteran, now 38 years old, and her history and business as a physio is what keeps her going. And in the last couple of seasons, her starts have just got quicker and quicker and quicker.
You can see her just fighting it here, coming down through the straights. It's good little side skids, correcting all the way down.
Already dropped into the red behind Noelle Piker's pace.
Really nice through the S-curves.
Well, when she came onto the World Cup in this last Olympic cycle, she was actually running on such a shoestring budget. She was sliding in a suit formerly used by Jeanette Stoddard, her predecessor, who retired after Vancouver. So they have a shoestring, and then they take most of the shoestring out, and that's the budget that the Kiwis are running on. And yet they still rock up at every World Cup race and outperform their budget by some margin.
Yeah, her and Ben, they travel all around. They train in Calgary a lot. And, I know they were here earlier this season to get on this track, so they felt it out quite a bit.
1:11.08, she's in 10th position, ahead of Jelena Nikitina, Anja Huber and Marion Thees. With 24 women in the field, the two German girls, Huber and Thees, are at the tail of the pack at the moment. Are we going to see a meltdown from the Germans in the way that we did from the Austrians, from the Swiss yesterday?
And she just got pushed away on Devil's Dyke. That's the problem that people are having. And you go into nameless late, get hung up, and it's just hard to save it from there because you just pushed all your pressure around and you're skidding out and falling out of corners.
Next up for Russia, Maria Orlova. And Maria's had some reasonable results on this track over the last few years. Let's see if she can find the fluidity that will bring her speed. She's the most senior of the three Russian girls, but still just 25 years old. She started nice and early in the Russian program, and a good getaway, 5:33, gives her the kind of advantage she might need to rein in Noelle Piker's pace, the leader.
And she had a really good kink 1 and kink 2 going into the wall here, middle, really nice through. Gets out perfectly. I know she rides her sled a little bit different than the other girls. She has a little bit more rock in her runners. You can tell when she starts. So it just depends on whether or not she can keep it straight and not skid. If she can keep it straight, then she'll have a lot of speed. Oh, big hit coming out of Horseshoe. Yeah,
that was a big skid, and she just couldn't stop hitting the wall. 9th place here in the World Cup race 2 years ago. And 13th in last year's World Championships, though, and I think she's more on a 13th than a 9th place run at the moment. Speed is drifting away, only 98 kilometers an hour.
You can see her fighting it, trying to keep that sled straight. Maybe just a little bit, maybe not enough control there in the bottom.
More footwork than somebody on Dancing with the Stars, and she's in 8th place. But I think there's an awful lot of tidying up. She spends a lot of time talking to the guy that you just saw there, Coach Willi Schneider. I think he'll have plenty to debrief for the second run.
Yeah, coming into Horseshoe here, she gets pretty decent height, but she just hangs around a little bit too long. She doesn't take it out at the right spot. Comes out too hard, crosses over, side skid, and then there's a bump on left-hand wall.
Well, from the high apex there in Horseshoe, 3 different steers, and she still hit the wall. So if she'd taken 2 of those out, she might have been a little better off. 15-start draw for Australia's Lucy Chaffer. And the Aussies identified skeleton after 2002 as a sport in which they could progress very quickly for a reasonable budget. Boy, they've progressed very quickly.
Yeah, Lucy came out and she started the same year I did, and we kind of went through the bottom ranks together. And you know, we've been on tour for a long time. Had Duff Gibson as our coach starting out, so she's come a long way. 30
years old, teacher from Bundaberg in, no, that's Michelle Steele is from Bundaberg. She's from Western Australia, from Perth. Good starter as well, 5:44. Not going to threaten the start record, but gets her in with the fastest girls at the moment, and still in the green as she gets to Horseshoe.
Lucy's having a great top of the track. Really nice coming out of Horseshoe. She's getting all her corner, getting in early there into Devil's Dyke, see if she can get out clean. Really nice coming out.
She's drifting away a little bit down into 3/10 away, and that might leave her outside the top 10. See the Southern Cross, the alignment of stars that navigators use in the Southern Hemisphere on the top of her helmet. And it's not helping her down here. 129.8 kilometers an hour, 9th place. Just behind Maria Oliver of Russia by 200ths of a second. We saw this in yesterday's men's race, didn't we, Eric? That there were little clumps, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 athletes covered by no more than a 10th. And that allows a lot of room for, well, for you to move up, but also potentially for you to drop down the order if you don't have a great second heat.
Yeah, that's a little bit different here for St. Moritz to have that many people in a tight-knit group. Normally you see a little bit more of a variance in time, but yesterday and even today we had a lot of people really close together, and it makes for an exciting race, but it also makes for a heartbreak on your second run sometimes.
15 of 24 sliders down. Next up is our 3rd British athlete, Rose McGrandle. Joined the World Cup, made her World Cup debut last week in Winterberg in Germany. And again, one of the fast-tracked athletes in their development program. She'll turn 27 on January the 24th of this year. So by then, we will know all of the Olympic selections that have been made. I wonder whether she's going to have a very, very happy birthday or not. We're not going to get into the convolutions of how many and how and which, when and why until it's all been decided after Eagles. 2/10 up at the start.
Rose is a great starter. I watched her in the gym the other day, and she's impressive. She's a very strong girl, and I couldn't believe some of the stuff she was doing. Yeah, I can't do that. Oh, big hit on the roof and Horseshoe, and then she hits again and falls out. Wow. And that's a rough go right there.
And that has taken away 10 kilometers an hour in terms of speed. Now she'll feel it's so pedestrian.
Yeah, she's going to drop pretty far back now. Those hits on the top are, not only do they hurt, but they'll hurt your time.
Yeah, you can see it's actually pulled her vest off her shoulder. She's hit the woodwork so hard. 1:27.8, she will be very bruised after that, physically as well as mentally. That is tough. 1:11.80, and it was a run that was looking so nice up until Horseshoe.
Yeah, she went in. I don't know if she went in too late or too early and just pushed it up, but yeah, she took a really hard hit there in the middle of Horseshoe. Here she is. Big hit. You can see her whole body turn. And then the sled dives down and it has nowhere to go but back up. Yep. I'm not sure. She did hit the roof again.
Yes, she did.
She went airborne, so
wow.
That's tough.
Kirsten Simkowiak's face plant out of theirs about 6 or 7 years ago is the ugliest exit I've seen a woman's skeleton slider take from. But even so, yeah, that was a pretty tough run for Rose McGrandle. Next up is our second Aussie, Michelle Steele, being yelled off by Eric Benotas. Most successful coach sliding on this track. He won here 6 years ago. Zach Lund's next most successful, took a silver medal at around the same time when they were all sliding in the run-up to the Vancouver Games.
Michelle Steele's been having a great season so far. Last week she had a little bit of a heartbreak. She pushed out of the groove, which is surprising because she was the only girl in the field that pushes two-handed. So,
very, very unusual. That's normally the ultimate safety, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we were talking about that in yesterday's first run, and then lo and behold, we had somebody pop out of the groove in the second run as well, which is very unusual here.
She got hung up there on telephone, and a little flop out. She's got to clean it up down here in the bottom and hopefully have a good result.
Well, 6th quickest starter. She had the lead coming down into Horseshoe, but it's drifting away outside the top 10 positions. You can hear the scrapes and the scratches, the toes just correcting the line. Little wavy through Martineau, exits neatly from Portago, but not her best run. 15th place only, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I don't think Michelle's going to be overly excited about this. I know that they're still fighting for the Olympics and stuff, so she needed I think she needs a pretty good result here to help punch her ticket. She's really nice through Horseshoe. You can see her steer down there with her, starting with her head, then her toe comes out, lifts up, trying to absorb that next corner because she knows she's going in too early. A little bump there.
Well, she is 100th of a second behind Anya Huber, who's 14th, and she is 600ths ahead of Marion Tiss, who's 16th. Next up, Canada's World Cup rookie this season, Robin Thompson. And again, we've seen a couple of new Canadian athletes really make their mark this season, same way that you did a couple of years ago when you broke into World Cup.
Yeah, Robin is a great story. You know, she came out in selections and had great races, and you know, she's such a relaxed, fun-loving person that I don't think the stress of the World Cup here has really gotten to her that much.
Well, let's see if she can keep that fun and relaxation going down the track. Slender lead as she comes out of sunny corner.
Robin's having a really nice top here. She's really relaxed. You know, she comes through Horseshoe, really low, hung up. I don't think she'll... Bad speed.
Not bad speed at all, actually. Not too many have gone faster. This could put her in the top dozen. Certainly should keep her safe from the drop zone. 24 athletes start here in the first run. Only the fastest 20 go through into Heat 2. 4800s back. This is still a good-looking top 10 run, and she avoids the wall on the exit between Martineau and Portago. 7th spot now. That is going to make her smile.
Yeah, Robin had a really good run down the track here, and I'm sure she'll be even happier because her parents are here watching. They flew out. They got here yesterday.
Oh, no. Well, do you know what? There is that special thing about St. Moritz. Not many people's parents fly to Winterberg.
No, nobody wants to go there, but everybody wants to come here. A little high, but she handles it really well, really relaxed coming out of Horseshoe. Keeps her head down, little side skid, but nothing that cost her that much.
No wonder she's smiling. Of the active Canadian athletes, only Melissa Hollingsworth has ever finished on a podium here. Of the active US athletes, only Katie Eulander has a gold medal on this track. She won here 5 seasons ago. Let's see if she can find that form here in St. Moritz again.
Katie's got her foot way out there trying to get around that first kink. Katie used to be one of the fastest starters on the tour, and she's kind of dropped off a little bit, but she might just be getting herself ready for Sochi.
Well, she could have raced in Winterberg last week, but decided that she actually needed the rest a little bit more mentally and physically. Eric, this is a long, tough season anyway, but the spectre of Sochi coming headlong at you in a rush, you need every bit of your faculties to be good there.
Yeah, and you also want to go in some confidence, because confidence will carry you a long way, and you know, trying to prepare yourself for it. Katie's having a really nice run.
She is having a blinding run below Horseshoe. She is really finding the speed. Little bumpy there as she saw the body bounced up off the sled.
Yeah, Katie's having a good run. She's keeping her shoulders down. Normally, earlier this season, you saw her with her head up, her shoulders up.
Little brush on the wall. Could this be a top 6 run? It is. 6th position for Katie Eulander.
That's more like Katie.
Yeah.
than what we've seen previously.
That's the sort of form she wants to recover. So Katie Uhlaender puts in a 6th place run, and that leaves you in that really close group. She's less than 2/10 away from Lizzie Arnold in the silver medal position.
She's got a little wavy in there, but she steers it perfectly, back down, relaxed. Just maybe brushed the wall going in, but at that point she had enough speed to get her through.
I think she might have threatened it rather than actually hit it. So, yeah, she carried the pace nicely. So Katie Uhlaender, top 6 slide in the first heat. Our race is led by the USA's Noelle Piker's pace. Our 20th of 24 starters is one of the youngest in the field. Lelda Priyajalena of Latvia has just turned 20. Last year, her rookie World Cup season, ran 4 World Cup races. And of course, her teammates, the Ducours brothers, who went 1-2 in yesterday's men's race.
You couldn't ask for a better couple of guys to work with. She is one of the smaller girls on tour. She's her and I think Sarah Reed probably down there in the smaller, group.
That's the view from 6'3", ladies and gentlemen. They're down there somewhere at just sort of mid-chest height. Yeah, 5'4", in fact, is her height. So she is, you're right, absolutely very petite. But one of the unique things about this sport, unlike, say, bobsledding being a direct comparison, is that you get all sorts of different physiognomies that all can kind of work fairly similarly.
Yeah, and we can have weighted sleds. So the smaller girls, they have a heavier sled than a couple, if you weigh a little bit more, but it just means you have to push it harder. Maybe you're a little bit more strong.
Yeah. So Lelda, at the moment, looking to finish in front of probably Rose McGrandle, but actually, she might be up with Marion Thies and Anja Huber of Germany as well. They did not have great runs. She's 19th spot, just behind Marion Thies by a 1/10 of a second. And normally, that would put you somewhere around the top 10, especially on this track, but Thies did not have a good run here today. So 19th place for Lelda Priyajalena and 20th place for Rose McGrandle. They're the girls on the bubble.
She's coming out of wall here just a little bit too early, hit the wall, late into snake 1, and that will bleed your speed, because you get high late on snake 1, skid across into snake 2, and it's tough to come back from that.
4 athletes to go, 20 safely down. The race is already full. For everybody else now, it is go fast or go home. First up then, Nozomi Komuro of Japan. And the 2 Japanese athletes both have been racing a long while in World Cup. She's only 28 years old. This is her 7th World Cup season. She works at Sendai University in Japan. So clearly she's intelligent enough not to be doing this.
Oh, big skid, then she hits the left wall, and straight now you can see her trying to fix it. That's going to be hard for her to gain any speed, because you just bleed everything up here at the top.
Eric, you would think, as a layman, that a 130 kilometers an hour mistake is going to cost you more than a 40 kilometer an hour mistake, but in fact, the opposite is true. The slower you're going, the more of your speed it takes away.
Yeah, and especially up top, because it's so flat, there's not a lot of places for you to pick up any speed, and if you skid up top, you drop down. There's no way to come back from that. Nozomi looks like she's skidding on the track. She skidded into horseshoe. Maybe a little too much risk taking.
Well, the men had a really good race yesterday.
So they're skidding there again.
She's struggling here, isn't she? She's not got the control she wants, 128.3. And control and speed are often not good bedfellows. To get speed, you want the minimum contact patch, but that means that the sled skids around a lot. So if you go aggressive, you can, you've got to be able to control it.
Yeah, there's a fine line there. You want to try and push the envelope as much as you can, but there's a line that if you cross it, that it can be very detrimental to you. You see her coming down in a horseshoe here, just a tap, and then she starts to skid sideways. Right here going in.
That's a horror story, going into horseshoe when you can feel the back breaking away. You know you're going in sideways. You worry about the exit. Well, she's in 20th place. Rose McGrandle is out of the race. And returning to the World Cup action is Aoko Nakayama. Aoko got into the sport because she was inspired by Nagano's Olympic Games in 1998. She still works at the Nagano track. She's 43 years old, this Japanese journalist. I'm thinking this might be her last Olympic cycle, but then I thought that going into Vancouver as well.
Yeah, you never know. People can just come out. Like, I've heard other people want to come back, and age doesn't matter in this sport. Experience matters.
Yeah, her last World Cup race before Winterberg was in January 2010. The last World Cup race that this woman slid in was before the last Olympic Games, before last weekend. That's quite remarkable.
She's having a pretty decent run here.
She is.
Nice horseshoe, nice devil's dyke. Just a little high on the end there.
She's not going to threaten the top 10, but she might make the field, and if she does, it's either her or Nozomi Komuro. Komuro's in 20th place. If Eike Nakayama gets into the top 20, it will be at her teammates' expense. She was 18th on splits, coming down onto the long straight to Martineau and Portago, and she's in, and Komuro is out. She's tied with Lelda Pregelena, so one Japanese in, one Japanese out, and either Pregelena and Nakayama will both stay in or will both go out. The remaining two sliders will tell us which.
See the sled bouncing around there in the start groove. Try and push as hard as you can without popping that sled out. It bounces around on you a little bit, so you try and put quite a bit of weight on it so it doesn't come out of the groove, and then just focus on that first corner. You can see it in her eyes.
Yeah. Well, she's got the experience. Had she got the speed, what can Joske Leconte of the Netherlands do? 23rd of our 24 starters. If she doesn't break the top 20, she won't get a second heat. 5:47 getaway, quicker than the girls that she's got to beat. Nozomi Komuro is already out, but she's got to beat Lelda Pregelena and Eike Nakayama. She's not going to catch Noelle Piker's pace at the moment. It's not about whether she's on Noelle's pace. It's about whether she's quick enough to make the top 20 and the second and deciding heat.
Yeah, I know last week in Winterberg she was pretty unhappy because I don't think she had a very good race. And so I know she's coming back here trying to get, redeem herself.
Well, one of the things that the Dutch Olympic Federation has is very strict standards. You don't have to just get the cut on FIBT standards. You also have to have, I believe, certainly in bobsledding, 3 top 6 or top 8 finishes, I think it is, in the World Cup in the season leading into the Games. And she is definitely going to struggle to make that. Whether or not it's different for women's skeleton, I couldn't tell you. 129.8, decent speed. At the moment, she's verging on the top 15, 14th place run. That is a good run. Andy Schmidt, who coaches the Brits, applauding that. He's obviously helping out a little.
Yeah, Joska's going to be pretty happy with this, I think. Yeah. She had a really good run. Wasn't a lot of mistakes. She's 14th right now, going in the second heat.
It's a nice-looking run. Fluid there. You can see her just spreading the feet apart. Tiny left toe dragging there.
Just a little skid going in the next corner, but really nice horseshoe. And then the bottom of the track was good for her.
If she'd avoided that toe drag coming out of horseshoe, she would have brushed the wall a little less into telephone. Last of our sliders then is Maria Mazilu. And at the moment, Lelda Pregelena and Eike Nakayama are in 20th place. They are the danger zone if Mazilu puts in a good run. We've just seen Erik Nielsen, Joske Leconte produce a 14th fastest run, so the track is offering the speed if you can take it.
It's there. She just came out of kink 1 and hit twice on the right wall. That's hard to come back from. You get hit once, and then if you come back and hit it again.
Seems to have a magnetic attraction sometimes. If you ping onto it, it seems to drag you back in. She's steering hard into Sunny. Means that Snake and Snake 2 didn't go well for her either. Through Nash and Dixon, named after the 1964 Olympic gold medalists in Eagles. They were British, but members of the St. Moritz Toboggan Club. So they're commemorated with that naming of the corners. And she's having a bit of a nightmare here. Slowest run so far.
She's hitting all the walls. She's skidding off corner sideways. She's just fighting it the whole way down.
Still just 22 years old. She did go to the Games in 2010. Might still go in Sochi. Great speed shot through the final corner there. But she didn't have huge speed, although to the layman, 79 miles an hour on sheet ice might still feel pretty huge.
Yeah, it was a tough go there from Maria. Coach is not too happy. I don't think she's going to be too happy with that run either. Just all over the place.
She was making mistakes in pretty much every corner. That's one to walk away from. That's the kind of throwaway run you wish had happened in training.
Yeah, she's just getting hung up on the corner, skid sideways. Looked like she tried to kick the wall, stay away from it, and then just laid in Devil's Dyke, which gets you hung up on the end, skid out, head up.
Into the wall.
Into the wall.
Shoulder hits the ice at 70 miles an hour, and it all feels about as uncomfortable as it looks. So unfortunately, no second heat for Maria Mazzilou, for Rose McGrandle, for Nozomi Komuro, or for Aoko Nakayama. But Noelle Piker's pace. Start draw number 1, place number 1 after the first of our 2 heats here in St. Moritz. She will go last as the top 20 start in reverse order. She will have to wait for 19 other athletes to do their best before she shows whether or not she's going to walk away from here with her first ever win in St. Moritz. Well, she's certainly got a big advantage. It's unusual in women's skeletons to see such a major margin first to second. And you can see from Lizzie Yarnell down how close those margins are. That's much more what we expect. Noelle Piker's pace found a draw above top draw to pull that run out of. If she can produce another one, she is going to be absolutely uncatchable. Top 20 go through, so Nakayama and Prejelena will both go in. That means we will have 21 sleds in our top 20, if that's not too much of a bizarre concept. 3 then will be spectators. Join Eric Nielsen and me, Martin Haven, for the second heat. We've got an unusual running order today. We've got the first heat of women's bobsled before the women's Skeletors get back on track. So the skeleton athletes have a good hour in which to recuperate. We'll be back. Stay with us for lots more sliding action from St. Moritz.